This is just an AI rendering of what it would have been like.
That's how much money we have in this pod. That this
Insane.
AI, look at this AI of Reggie Watts. It looks so real.
AI, Captain. It's weird, like whether I smoke weed or not, like it doesn't really affect my ability
You think?
to think at all.
Does it make your thinking better?
Well, yeah, it definitely expands basically, like
Yeah.
what it be. But because I think it's also because I improvise all the time, or that's the nature of the way that I do things. So when I have a drug, it doesn't really affect my cognitive ability unless it's like actually physically impairing me, you know, like it's so much of something that I can't speak or something like that.
Like overdosing, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's weird. It's like sometimes I call it like being awake inside of the effect or whatever, or like finding the center of the hurricane. You know how it's like super quiet inside of it. It's almost like that with me. So no matter like if people are like super fucked up, some people will be like, I'm so fucked up because they're in the hurricane, but I'm in the center going like, I can feel the power of this hurricane, but I'm still awake and thinking inside of it. So it's like it's almost like a duality where you're just like, isn't this great? You know, like in like Bugs Bunny cartoons where like the cartoon, like they break the fourth wall once in a while. They'd be like, isn't this something? You know, and then like continue going. Like that's basically my vibe when I could be like super high on acid. I'm like, oh my God, isn't this crazy that we're in this high right now? Yeah, I know. Anyways, oh my God, it's really weird.
I'm jealous of it. That's such
weird.
a like that's such a safe place to be able to go. It's so easy for me to be nudged into like just stuck in the
panic.
Of course.
I'm like, well, everyone's mad at me. Let me count the ways.
Of course. I mean, it totally makes sense. And it's not like, I just think like I got lucky for whatever reason, the way that I'm wired.
I always picture that place like a river that's always like, always there. And I had this, it was during COVID, I was just stuck in my apartment for a while. And I was like, I had this habit where I was like, well, I'll just take some shrooms and put on music and like paint and like dance and do shit, whatever. But I was thinking about, I laid out everything that I had ever like made. And I was like looking at it and I was like trying to be objective, but also like, what's like the through line here or whatever. But I was noticing that what all of them had in common was, when I was really excited about it, I was dropping into that space, but it made me think about like, I felt like I was, every time where I achieved that, I felt like I was leaving myself and going into this one place that was like, I could look across from myself and see 16-year-old me who was also making that one thing. And it's like, I drop there, I see all those different versions of myself, and we all go like, and then we go back up and then are stressed about whatever the thing is we made.
Oh my
but it's just so like, it's such an interesting place to live when you're but it's hard for me sometimes to not feel to not get sucked into the outside part where I'm like, and what's gonna happen? Oh no.
For sure.
You know,
for sure. That's beautiful though.
Dare I say, and I'm psychoanalyzing myself. I promise I'm not projecting on other people.
How dare you?
Sometimes I was born a lightweight, and not even just with alcohol, like drugs or alcohol, like just like I'd have to take a little amount of Tylenol to work. I'd have to take a little amount of, whatever. And I sometimes think it's like something about my anxiety and the way I process life. I almost desperately need that escape. I need to be on that roller coaster for a second. So I think I'm probably capable of that flow state within drugs or alcohol or whatever it is. Yeah. But I think sometimes I choose to be on the because I don't want to make any choices.
I see.
I want to be out of control.
Whoa. I love
Not a lot.
That.
But I sometimes think maybe I am a lightweight mentally for that reason sometimes. Having that glass of wine will make me a giggly mess, and I needed that.
Well, what do you do that makes you feel like you're in like a flow state where you kind of forget about time? Is it watching something? Is it doing something?
I love it. I recently discovered I like video games, like in the last couple years. I liked them when I was little. I just never did it. So I have a Switch. I have a little Switch, and I play Animal Crossing and Zelda. And I really get in a flow state there. Like it's like meditating for me.
Yes.
And then also, I think as any artist or writer, it's like when you get a really good idea and you're like, no one's thought of this. This is so fucking funny. I'm writing this all down. That's the flow state that I feel like connected to.
Yeah, you're like, it's just like things are falling into place, and you're like, you're just describing what you're seeing.
Yeah, it's like this story. Yeah, like they say you get downloads, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this story has existed up in the ether for years, and now I just got downloaded, so I'm gonna write this woman who does this, and it's so funny, and this is like the pilot.
Yeah, you know what to do. You know who to contact. You're like, oh, I bet you this would work.
This person would be great, and this, that's a flow state, I think, for what we do.
Yeah, 100%. That is the cool thing about a flow state is that it's universal.
It can be popped in.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of maternal energy doesn't have to be a woman, but a lot of maternal energy is that flow state of like a mom getting into action when her baby is getting like in danger. It's just like, oh, I quiet the noise and I go vroom and save that kid.
Yes, 100%.
It doesn't have to be a woman necessarily. Just that maternal safety thing, the mother bear.
It just turns on. It's just like automatic information that's in us, and we're just like, no, now's the time to do that. It's like it just shuts off all the like, well, maybe I shouldn't, and maybe it's not, and maybe you're like, I'm just doing this.
I'm just doing it. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm doing it.
Yep.
That's a perfect segue to our the theme of our podcast, which is canceling your plans.
Interesting. How do you cancel it? I think well, it's been a long relationship with that, because I tend to be someone who's I can be like not punctual, and I can definitely, and I struggle with that, and then sometimes I just don't feel like doing stuff, last minute. We live in 100%. LA, where is this like LA? Everybody plays for the LA Flakers.
I've never heard that. I love that.
Yeah. So there is kind of a flake culture, like a flake exchange.
Yeah.
So like if you flake on something, someone's usually the response in LA is like, it's like, oh, that's no worries. I totally understand, right? And so now they have permission to do that
flake
with
on you.
Banking
at some point.
Left and right. Yeah.
Flake economy. But I will say that now I'm getting more in the zone of like, if that's what you're feeling, then that's okay, because you take priority, and without like, and making sure you're checking in that you're not doing this regularly with someone, that you're making this, that you're disrespecting their time, or you let them know that you are aware of their time, and that I'm sorry, I've decided to do this, but ultimately I just had to tell myself like, it's okay to like cancel something if I'm not feeling it, and not feel like a total asshole, like beat myself up for it. Because like, why would you beat yourself up for something that you were honestly feeling? And that's hard to get there.
That's very, very hard to get there. I don't think I'm quite there yet. I got rid of the FOMO. I stopped having that.
Right. Yes.
I stopped having that. I think at a couple years after college, I realized, oh, like that wasn't actually fun. I shouldn't have gone. I didn't miss anything. And then, but I still have yet to leave the guilt of like, I'm so tired I can barely keep my eyes open, but I'm gonna go to this dinner.
Push yourself.
And I do cancel a lot, don't get me wrong, but I still feel guilt. Like good. I'm still canceling. I just need to get rid of the guilt is the next step.
Yeah. I will say that I think part of the FOMO, what's harder to give up in that realm or let go of, is that sometimes when you do push yourself, you are rewarded.
Right. By meeting someone cool.
Yes. Like you're like, oh, I'm so exhausted, blah, blah, and then you show up and it's like someone you've always wanted to meet or talk to is at this function. You're like, fuck. And, and then you start talking and that's amazing. And then something else happens. You're like, God, I'm really glad that I pushed myself tonight. But yeah, that's tough.
Then the next time you cancel, you're sitting there going,
I know.
I wonder who I was going to meet tonight.
It's like, I was about to meet Bill Cosby. Damn it.
Damn it. Right before he went to jail.
Yeah, right before that. Yeah.
I have so many things for him to sign.
Yeah, totally.
As a single person, I do sometimes guilt myself that way. Like, I've even had girlfriends say to me, come out. You don't know. You could meet your husband tonight. But then I'm like, but why would I want to meet my husband on a night where I don't want to go out?
Did you want to meet this version of me?
Yeah. Like, do I have to force myself to do this just to meet my soulmate? Like,
Yeah.
But then you do meet your soulmates unexpectedly sometimes.
Yeah, but you're going to meet him no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a higher likelihood that you meet someone like that when you're in a space that you feel comfortable with yourself. Where you're like, I'm not really concerned about it. Not that you're like, fuck it, I'm not, whatever.
Can I meet them when I'm home watching Netflix?
You could.
Yeah,
you could. someone like knocks on the door and they're like, here's your food. You're like, I didn't order the food. It's like, oh, it's crazy. Is this your neighbor? It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, you have a Switch? I'm like, yeah, I have a
Wait,
Switch.
I love Switch.
Yeah. It's like,
wait.
I don't know. Hey, do you mind if I just like, I won't come in, but I'll like knock on the door and then maybe we could just talk a little bit more.
Wait, sorry, this is beautiful. This is a gorgeous love story, and I want to manifest it.
Do you think that there's only one soulmate?
No, I specifically said soulmates.
Oh, you did say that.
So like, I might miss out on one tonight, but I'm gonna go out another night. I'll do another one.
Yeah,
I think I think we all have at least like 3 to 5.
I think you're right.
I think a lot of my friends are my soulmates.
Like, it's like choose your adventure. Like whoever you end up bouncing into, or whoever. Like I that's what I think. I don't think there's one.
No, I think you're right. 100%. Me even being in a relationship where I'm like, oh, I can imagine being with this person for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Even though I have that feeling in the relationship, you just know that there just has to be, because like why not to mean like, oh, well, if you need to meet another one, then you just switch to the other. It's not that. It's just that it doesn't make sense that it would be just one person.
No.
I think that was just like a literalized romanticism.
Yeah.
You know,
right? We needed that one
it's like
singular.
There's one person out there. It's like, yeah, I get it. Mm-hmm. There's a person, and when you meet that person, you're like, yeah, that's my soulmate, right? Yeah, that's true. But I think that they probably meant that there are others. But when you're feeling that with that person, that is that person.
Yeah. Someone said once, like, if there's only one soulmate, like what if my soulmate's like in rural China?
Yeah.
And I live in Ohio, like, and he's never been on a flight, and I've never, like, how are we ever supposed to? That's so cruel. We can't live in a world like that.
No, it's not. That's not cool.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's not cool, universe.
Yeah, there's quantum entanglement of other, soulmates. It's like, it could be like 20, but depends on and there's so many variables, right? Where you're at in your life, all the language barrier, whatever, the barriers.
Yeah.
And the near misses and all that stuff.
It's a miracle we even come together at all.
I know, exactly. What do we even do?
And we even make plans at all.
I know.
But it is kind of low.
It is.
Yeah, it's not. And also, like, even with the tools that we have now, we have technology to even help support that.
To support connection.
To support that. And it's like,
and
the fact that was even built too is... And I still am like, was it on Friday? Even though I wrote it down for Friday of 2026 for some reason.
Yes.
It's just like weird.
It's silly.
It's so goofy.
Yeah, it's silly. But like, we always find a way to, like, I don't know, just not do the thing that's most helpful to ourselves in a way.
Yeah.
Like we want to like not do it. I don't know what it is. It's like it's too easy, or maybe like we want the drama. I don't know.
I definitely think. I think a lot of people in LA love kind of the kinetic energy of being late to something, or being or canceling last minute, or the drama. We love the drama here. We moved here for a reason.
That's true. It is Drama Town,
and
or
like,
Dramaton.
Like we're all we're all flakers.
Well, it's huge, right? Because there's so much guilt around it. Like I've definitely had tons and tons and tons of guilt around canceling things, because I'll be like, I don't know. Like I got accepted this year to go to an artist residency.
Oh, cool.
In Poland, and I was in Berlin at the time. It would have worked out perfectly. I would have been. Well, it was when I was single. I applied for this, and I got it, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then a bunch of my friends who live in Berlin got the residency as well, so they were able to go. And so I was like, oh shit, all my friends are going to be there. And then I met Catherine.
Yeah.
And she started her job on September 3rd, so just like a few days ago.
Oh my God.
In LA? Her law job, yeah.
So, nice. She's a lawyer?
She's a lawyer, yeah.
Badass.
Yeah, brand new, Okay. And so just started, and so I was like, I feel like I should be there for her, starting her job. And it just felt like the right thing to do. So I did that, and I'm stoked that I did do that. My friends are at the residency, but I was like, you got to tell me how it is. But luckily, I kind of know-ish the people who run it.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna go next year. So that made me feel. It's like, like I definitely, there are moments where I get up and I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're doing. It'd be so cool to just be in a weird forest in Poland and just for 2 weeks and lose track of time and just be in creative zone, which I do need, and that is going to happen. But I do like in my recent life, being in a relationship, being in a monogamous relationship, kind of reprioritizing things.
Yeah.
Not at the detriment of myself, but it actually makes me feel better about myself. That
a lot of people find, like, that's why family and relationships can be grounding, because it is literally a grounding force. It keeps you where you're at sometimes. Like, I can't flutter around the world right now. I have to be here, and and that's okay, because I'm happy to do it, because I love this person, or whatever it is.
Yes.
And that can be good.
Totally. I agree 100%. And but it's also a balance. Like you can't be like, everything for this person's schedule. No. It's just not healthy at all.
There has to be a balance.
Yeah, you have to like take time for yourself and do things for yourself. But it's cool. It's like through negotiation, just talking with someone, and you come to an understanding, and that becomes a new form of freedom unto itself. And that's great.
Feels nice sometimes to have sort of like a responsibility to a person. Sometimes like that makes me feel really like safe, and like
it does. I think that's why humans do it. There's a reason we're a tribe creature, is like
like it makes me feel less, especially if I'm spending a lot of time fluttering around LA, getting really kind of sucked into my own bullshit. It's really nice sometimes to be like, all right, well, like I do have a list of priorities that are like, and I have a responsibility to this person to be there for them, and like baseline, I have to be there for them, like emotionally and like physically, and like be there, be present with them. And if that's on my checklist, then I feel it makes the other stuff feel less confusing to me, because I have to be
present for this thing.
Yeah, like the amount of the window in which I can just dick around and like be figuring out my stuff, or like making things, and like getting it's really fun, and it's like a privilege to be able to connect with, to be in such a highly concentrated place with so many really funny, talented people, where you get to kind of like have that electricity
around.
But then to not be able to fully get sucked in the way that I used to, and be like, I have to be home, I have dinner.
I'm making dinner for my boyfriend.
Yeah, I have dinner, and that feels nice. And we sit on the couch, and I have the dog. And then,
why do people own pets? I mean, it's that.
It's great.
I want to come home to feed my dog. I want to.
We want to take care of something together.
Yeah, I've been single for probably 6 years, and I live alone. And I'm having these inkling feelings of like, wow, I think I really like being alone. I always thought that it was a problem. I always thought that I was gonna hate living alone, and then all of a sudden I love living alone, and I like being an independent, alone person. And I'm like, how will I compromise? When I fall in love, will I be able to be like, especially with plans too, like, do I go to your house for Thanksgiving, or my house? Do I go to your friend's birthday and sacrifice going to that concert I wanted? It's like when you're in a relationship, for real, you got to make a lot of social compromises.
True. It's true. Well, it is true. It is true. I mean, like, you definitely fall off. Certain friendships kind of fall off a little bit.
Yeah.
And to that annoying, like, I've been the single person where someone gets into a relationship. And
you're like, they dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I guess I'm never going to see that person again. Being kind of like, a little bitchy about that. It's something to think about. I mean, I'm definitely, she's living with me now, kind of temporarily. We're figuring that out, but she had to move out of her place. And I've always dreamt of like, if I fall in love, it will be decisively. But like, I thought, well, the ideal would be they would live in a house that was just like down the street.
Yeah, right.
And we would just...
So you would coexist in two different houses.
Yes.
And make it work between...
Yeah. And I think that there is still something there that I like, because like even right now we're going to look for a place. And I'm definitely not... If we go and look at a place to get together, and it's amazing, I'm totally down.
Yeah.
But I am very happy in the house that I've been living in for 8 years. And... and that's just like something to kind of reckon with a little bit, where you're like, I understand that this, like we want to find a place that's more like our place. But if we don't find that, then how do we exist in the meantime? And how do we share space?
Could you guys have 2 bedrooms?
Well, we do have, there is a guest room, and there's like another side of the house. So it is possible. We just have to figure out how to integrate her. I have so much stuff in my house.
Well, that's the thing about being single for a while.
Yes.
You don't have to make space for other people, so you get to accumulate.
Yes, you just like accumulate a bunch of stuff.
No one judges what's in your cabinets. Like, they're yours.
No, but I will say that I do want to minimize. Like, I want to get rid of at least like half of the stuff that I have in the house.
Do like a sale.
Yeah. It's going to happen, but you got to like actually look through stuff.
Yeah,
and
that takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Do you travel light, or do you bring a lot of stuff with you when you
super
travel?
Light?
Yeah.
Yeah, super light. I never check bags. And the reason why I stopped checking is because I did do a gig I had a gig in Amsterdam. It was a direct flight from New York City to Amsterdam. Somehow they lost, and I put my gear in it.
How did they lose it? Wasn't it on the flight?
Your gear was in it.
Flight. Yeah, my gear was in it.
Did you have to cancel the show?
No, I still did the show. They just got me a Rhodes piano, and then I think a reverb pedal. And that's all I had. So I had no looping. I had no looping capability. I was just playing like a cappella, just like playing song and making up songs on the piano using a reverb pedal.
Trying to get
I was like, I got to do so much stuff. But the good part was that everybody at the party was high on ecstasy.
So they just loved hearing.
They were just like, whatever. Like there's this person doing this stuff, and whatever. But because of that experience, which happened in probably like 2010. I was like, never again am I checking bags, or at least if I'm checking, my gear's with me.
Totally.
And so that whole time from 2010, I never checked a bag. I'll never cancel on anything if I don't have the right tools.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting thing. Yeah, like you'll improvise and make it work, especially as for a gig.
Yeah. When you're touring, has there been an instance where you're like, we have to, like, how many things have to go wrong in order for you to be like,
to cancel
we can't do the show?
Well, we did cancel either one or two shows when I was in my band Mock Tube in Seattle days. The reason being I lost my voice.
That's your main instrument, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that was I mean, I felt so bad too. My band was so bummed.
Really?
And like we went and saw like an emergency voice doctor guy, and they prescribed me steroids for the next gig, and so I was able to do the show. And it felt weird, because steroids are very weird.
They are weird.
Because the condition's still there, but it just controls the inflammation.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting
You're
dichotomy.
still in pain, but it's open.
You feel like something's not right.
Yeah.
But you're still able to do it. Wow. But that was the only time, and I felt like so incredibly. I felt terrible, about it. And I've never really. I don't think I've canceled anything for any being sick or anything.
You make it work.
Yeah, since that's the only time I've canceled a show.
Wow.
I think about it. I may be wrong. I mean, someone would be like, "There was a show I was going to go see you in Boston. You didn't show up." Whatever.
Yeah, send your complaints to our email.
Yeah, actually, directly email us. We'll deal.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Yeah, because I like being corrected.
Yeah, as a public figure too. Like, I'm sure. I don't know. I feel like people like have to have a certain expectation of like, oh, he's going to be here. He's going to show up here. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's going to come to this dinner. Mm-hmm. He's going to come to this event where he gets awarded something or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a lot of pressure too. I'm not sure if I would.
Yeah. I mean, I never think of it that way. I always, for whatever reason, all my life, I've thought of myself as just like the guy that like I barely got invited.
Oh, sure. Like from a childhood standpoint.
I don't know what it is, but just like my whole life, I've just been like the guy that's like, are you sure you want me? Really? Can I come in?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, guys, I want, yeah. That's what that side of myself sounds like.
Look, we all have our childhood shit.
It sounds like this.
He's always outside. Can I come in?
Hey, guys, you sure it's okay? I know you invited me and all, but like, is it okay for me to come in?
You're like a little scrappy kid from the Bronx.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. The gym never felt like it quite fit in, but I always have that energy in general. I mean, there's definitely some things where I feel very invited, and
totally.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be there for sure. But most of the time I don't really think of it as like people going like, he's coming, this person's coming to our thing.
Yeah,
I'm mostly like, well, I was lucky to be invited.
Dare I say that's a good thing. I think.
I think so.
I don't think the latter of like being like, well, they're lucky to even breathe my air.
Oh my gosh, no! Could you imagine? That's like the
I feel
worst.
Like 80% of this city, famous or not, feels that way sometimes. Don't you feel that way?
Yeah,
sometimes?
I guess.
Probably not 80%, but a lot of people in this city.
I feel like it threw me off at first when I first moved here, but like I've only been I'd say only, but I've only been here for like 11 years maybe. It's enough
pretty
time.
good chunk,
it's
though.
a good chunk of time, but like it wasn't only in like the last 3 or 4 when if I encounter something like that, it's so funny.
It's hard to be around.
It's so goofy that it's just like you can't. It doesn't bother me in the way that it used to.
Right.
I'm just like,
right.
oh,
You're just watching it.
Oh my god, sweetheart, you're all right.
Yeah.
Something's going on. Something's going on.
Yes.
And either you're gonna figure it out and it'll be okay, or you're gonna leave.
Yes.
And I won't have to see you ever. And it's fine.
I that is probably the healthiest perspective you can have, because if someone's coming at you with some crazy energy like that, it's so healthy to be like, oh, there's something going on with this person. Not like there's something wrong with them, but there's something going on with this person. They're going through something right now, and I'm just going to give them that space, and it's not going to affect me.
Yeah.
And that's like
that's
sick.
on like
That's
therapy and realizing like everyone's going through their own.
Yeah. Or they'll get exactly what they want, and then they'll ascend to wherever they need to ascend, and they'll torture the people over there.
Yes,
and
totally.
I'll be fine.
I'll
be fine.
Hey, I'm glad you made it out of here. That's so great. I'm for your ascension.
Yeah, I'm
leveled
pro
up.
ascension.
I'm pro ascension.
Yeah.
Do you watch Buffy at all? Have you ever seen Buffy?
No, not as much as I need to.
I'm heavy on. I rewatch Buffy all the time, but that's a common thread in the season I'm watching.
Is ascension?
There's a villain that's supposed to. There's a looming ascension.
Oh my!
And I'm gonna
gosh.
be thinking about that now too. Anytime I experience
like the villain will just poof in the air.
a growing
done.
Hollywood creature where it's just they're ascending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be gone.
Looming ascension.
The sun will blot out and they will ascend.
It's like finally, and then like once they like, can we just ascend this person already? It's like this is so terrible, such a dour mood in here.
Please just ascend.
Yeah, just ascend and get out of here. Just do the right thing or whatever you need to do and ascend. What do you need? Credits? You can have my credits.
Like
Get out of here.
it's like reincarnating, I guess.
Yeah,
like
totally.
you're like, you're ready for your next life.
Yeah.
Just freaking go.
That'd be hilarious.
Well, we have a portion of the pod that we're just gonna hold on to.
Oh yeah,
still,
Portia Pod, go for it.
where we read someone like emails us for advice about a social plan.
Love this.
This is a very short entry.
Is it? Okay, great. Short and
it's
sweet.
kind of vague. I bailed. I think it's like 2 things that are happening. I bailed on 3 friends' weddings week of. That's the first sentence.
What?
Worst one was when I canceled on my college best friend's wedding so I could go to Mexico for my current best friend's 30th birthday. It depends on what you prioritize, wedding or 30th birthday, and college versus current BFF. And that's the end of the entry.
Wow.
That's a lot to unpack there.
That's all she wrote.
I will say also, like,
she wrote.
the fact that that's all she wrote as well, I think is indicative of this person's general vibe, is that they're just like,
Right.
I'm not going to write a full paragraph going into extreme detail of this thing. And then also, like, to drop the news that I bailed on 3 weddings, then be like, and then also this one time I didn't go to this one thing because of this. Anyway, bye. Is kind of fun to me.
3 weddings the week of.
Yeah, 3 weddings the week,
Week of is kind of rude.
I think that's rude.
And they didn't go to those 3 weddings because of the friends there, or no,
No,
was
that's just like
one.
a separate
I got you.
incident.
That was another instance. Well, I mean, it would have been nice to know why, but
Seems like they just got to get their
just-
calendar together.
it's just like I was in a serious helicopter accident and I couldn't move, and I was in the ICU, and I had to cancel in 3. It's like
3
oh,
separate
what an
times.
asshole.
Yeah.
Right. We have to have context.
Yeah, totally.
But I will say, if they're leaving out context, it's
Probably not
for
a good
a bad reason.
Yeah. Probably they're just like, I was really into cereal that week and I couldn't stop. Oh
And
boy.
then my mouth was raw from
that's a
cereal
great
and I didn't
excuse,
go.
Reggie. I'm gonna start saying that. Hey guys,
like-
I just got a new cereal.
Yeah, totally, guys. I got a new cereal.
I got a munch.
It's a new type of Raisin Bran. I've tried 8 types of Raisin Bran. It's like, no, I get it. I'd cancel it too. When you're on a roll like that, you're on a roll. Yeah, I again, it depends on the reason, but I mean, it just depends on, like, it seems like if you cancel on 3 weddings, either you're not
Right.
either you're not big on weddings. Like, maybe some people like get nervous, weddings, or it just feels like too much. I feel that way.
Yeah.
When people invite me to their wedding, I'm like, it sounds like a good idea at first, and then as it gets closer, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, but now that you're in a relationship, has that changed a little?
No, there hasn't been a weddings yet.
But I'm curious because I sometimes, as a single person, I feel a little nervous going to weddings, especially alone, if I don't get a +1 or I don't know a ton of people.
Sure.
Because it's all couples.
I guess so. I don't mind that. I don't mind
Okay.
that. It's just the pressure of the event itself.
That it's
You know
a
what I
big
mean?
day for these people.
Yeah, it doesn't matter necessarily if I'm alone or even with a person or if I go with a friend.
Yeah.
That doesn't affect it as much. It's more just like this is a wedding, you know, and this is like, and it can be long, you know, and drawn out. I've been to some weddings where they knew their audience and they made it fast and beautiful, meaningful.
Oh, love that. Yeah.
Quick, and then it just opens up into like a hang party or whatever, and that's it. And no pressure, no other extra events, no like the father of the bride wants to give a speech, the blah 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 wants to give a speech, like all of that, which is great.
The reading of Corinthians.
Yes, yes, and please be seated. You know, it's like open your hymnals to page 85. But so when it's that, I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. That makes that makes me happy, and then you feel like I do have the energy to celebrate this marriage, you know, because now I'm like, wow, thank you for that gift of not making it really intense to the point at which I felt like, when is this going to end? Is there going to be another part? I don't know what's going on.
Even
my God.
just sitting in
You're speaking to also from a Catholic standpoint a little bit too, because I know you were raised Catholic too.
Yeah.
It's like,
were we all?
I think we were all raised.
We're all Catholics.
It's all, but like even just saying
those
that, I'm not
masses
doing
are an
anything.
hour and a half.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hour and a half. Yeah.
The sacrament of marriage is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And you have to like do communion, you have to do the whole thing. So if you're going to a Catholic wedding and they're Catholic and they're doing the whole thing,
wow,
you're signing up for mass.
Yeah. It's kind of like a weirdly, like it's an advertisement for the religion as well.
Yes.
It's just like, it's like it has to be a part of this. If you're going to do it our way, then we also have to sell our wares.
Yeah.
Isn't this cool that
branded
you get
content?
this? Yeah, it's like if you became one of us, you get to have a wedding like this. Isn't this cool?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know, man. It makes me really anxious. I
I
have
guess
a lot
the
of
stained
anxiety.
glass is kind of nice.
I guess it's kind of, I mean, the smells are cool. You know, the sounds of like creaking benches, you know, during speeches is cool. But, yeah. And so I would say, like, if someone's going to bail on 3 weddings, I would say that there's probably an aversion to weddings.
Yeah.
Either that or something crazy was happening that week, and the pressure of the weddings amplified even more. That they were like, no, I can't.
But I think I like where you're going with this. That maybe this person has this weird relationship to weddings.
Yeah.
Or to unions in general. Like I don't know. It could be that they're single and sad, or it could be that they get freaked out by religious ceremonies or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But also, like, we all got stuff going on. I think it's just sort of like,
suck it up and go.
Yeah, like not to be a dick about it, but it's also like,
I know
we all, everyone's got shit. Like,
yeah,
I don't think it's too hard to. I understand if let's say 3 weddings are converging on one week, and you're like,
that's crazy.
Who do I tell? Like, by all means, feel that panic, and also like be a grown up and send a text. At least, and be like, I'm not going.
Yeah,
I think that's fine. I think if you tell people that you're not able to go to something before it happens, I think that's fine.
Sure.
It's a week of, but that's going to happen. You just have to be prepared for it. And also, like, if I don't know, that one I'm kind of like, it just depends on the type of person you are. But like, if that's what you felt that they need, if that's what they felt like they needed, then that was great. That was fine. They listened to themselves. Also, the birthday thing. Same thing. You're like prioritizing, like, you know what? This is this person's 30th birthday. A wedding is going to be pretty supported generally. It's not like
they'll have other people there.
They're going to have other people there. And unless they're your best friend, which didn't sound like they were, it sounds like they were friends. And you chose your friend's 30th. It only happens once. And you could say that about a wedding, but also there's like so much, it's so abundant.
Yeah.
You know,
there's a lot of love overflowing in most weddings.
And it's about them ultimately. So if someone can't be there, if that's going to affect how you're the feeling of you getting married to this person that you love,
then maybe you need to reevaluate.
Yeah, you need to reevaluate. Yeah, 100%.
Well, some people like weddings more than their partners.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yes,
I mean,
that is true.
Sometimes I watch people get married and then they're so depressed afterwards.
Yeah.
I get it. I get
What's
the come down.
Sure.
I get that with like shows. Like if I'm in a show, I feel that way about theater. Like if I'm in a really exciting show and then it ends, I get the post-show depression. But I'm like, well, you have your husband or wife or partner with you now for the rest of your life. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Do you think that's sort of like someone feeling because they don't have like in their life, like we have built-in pageantry that happens every day.
That's
true. And like I wonder if
That's
once
true.
that kind of goes away, like people don't, a lot of people don't have that built in. So as soon as like they spent months being like, literally planning a performance, and then they're never going to be the star ever again in their life.
I never thought about that.
And they're like, well, it's over.
And then, yeah, right. I'll never have this level of blah 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 again, perhaps.
Yeah, when it's like,
that's
no,
true.
Like, babe, all you can do is like sign up for
for groundlings.
Yeah. Join a second city or something.
Yeah. Or just turn on your phone and slap on a silly wig and
yeah, totally. I know, it's like it reminds me of that REM album. I think it was I don't remember if it was an album or it was like an anthology or something like that, but it was called Life's Rich Pageantry.
Oh,
I love that title very much.
Weddings are one of life's rich pageantries.
Yeah, but I think there is something there. I think that there is something about the anticlimax, but also I think there's this thing about overpromising that is at play as well. I think with marriage, unless you've built a healthy, communicative, vulnerable, collaborative relationship,
space to grow.
Yeah, where the wedding is just like, oh, we'll just do it, but it's not changing the way that we're feeling. This is more just like a party to just be like, hey guys, we're stoked that we're together.
Yeah.
You guys stoked about that too? And people are like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And you're like, that's great. And then you just continue on with your life.
Yeah.
Like, I think if that's the feeling of a wedding, I think that feels way healthier to me than unless like both people are like, no, let's do it in Italy and like a destination wedding, and let's make sure it costs like a gazillion dollars and that we're in debt for a long time. Yeah. Like, if people are stoked about that, go for it. I'm like,
I feel it
save
like
some
a
money
tightness in my chest.
I know,
because even like I don't even have to be a part of like a groomsman or officiant or whatever. Like just sitting in like the audience of that wedding when it's that serious.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a chance that me sitting in like the 8th row, there's something I could do to fuck all this up.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
And like I know that like I don't have like too many like intrusive thoughts where I'm like, stand up, scream as loud as you can.
I object.
But like, there's something like, what if for some reason everyone knows to say a thing and I don't say the thing, or my chair breaks.
Oh yeah.
Or I pass out from the sun.
From exhaustion.
Yes.
It's just there's just too much riding, and for me to not be involved at all in what's happening and to feel that weight on me, I can only imagine what's going on up there.
Yeah.
It's so.
I know, and the only thing that can make a wedding feel good, but besides like some general aesthetics as you're approaching it and you're in it before it happens, are the bride and groom. If the bride and groom are super chill and they're just like, oh, you can feel how much they're excited about they're in love with each other and they're excited about this, and the person that's officiating, whoever they are, whatever they are, is also has like a good vibe because they chose that person. They all set the vibe. Like that's very intentional, and that will put me at ease, because normally I would be exactly like what you're doing. Like almost always. I mean, if it feels like a traditional wedding and there's someone's coming down the aisle and they're like holding the train and there's like little girls going, hey, flowy, and everyone's like, oh, you're cute, all that stuff.
Well, just gawking and like,
yeah, like, oh my gosh, it's like, well, Jenny doesn't look that good. It's like, who's Jenny? Oh my God, you're so right. I didn't even recognize, whatever. Like all that stuff going on. It's like, that's not really, I feel gross about it. Like, but when people, no offense, but when,
no offense to Jenny.
No offense, Jenny. I'm sure you're great. But yeah, they set the tone. So I think that it's
nothing like a bride or a groom, classically brides crying at the start of the day, and you're like, are these happy tears or good tears? Because this sets the tone for all of us.
Yes.
And
you've been a bridesmaid before, right?
Yeah, I've been in many weddings.
The inner sanctum of like
different
the
types
dresses.
of brides and different types of grooms where they're either relaxed or they're not. I will say I've been mostly with like the brides who are crying out of joy and just like, thank you all for being here. And that to me is like all you need to do.
Yeah.
Just set that pace of like, thanks for being in rural Ohio on Labor Day weekend to celebrate this. Like, it means a lot, and I'm so happy. And you can see it in their eyes. No worries, I got you.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
But then the people that are just like yelling at you, hold my train and get my flower. Oof. You're like,
I've heard horror stories about like family members of the people getting married, where like the person getting married is chill, but like it means so much to like their aunt who's like doing their hair or something. So they're like a tyrant with everyone's hair.
Yeah.
And, like,
I've heard of multiple moms, 2 different families who are like, oh, I thought I was singing at the reception. And the bride's like, Mom, I never told you could sing. Yeah, but I would really love to sing and it's like the mom's not a singer. She just like wants to have, she's drunk and wants the attention on her.
Oh my God.
I'm
I
like,
love that.
oh, I mean, it's hilarious. But for the bride and groom, they're like, no, Mom, please don't sing.
I will say I am tickled by the wind because everyone's families
dance,
are
like something like that.
I hope you dance.
It was I hope you dance. That was
I
one
love
of
it. Everyone's families are so weird.
Yeah.
Everyone has a weird family, but that is a little thing about weddings that what makes it dangerous and exciting to me is getting that little window to like. Because normally, you would never see that crazy out of the person because you don't know them that well.
Right.
The stakes are so high that like
the shields are dropped.
Yeah.
And
or they've been drinking.
I think it's delicious.
It's
all
the
of it.
Drinking. Yeah.
All of it. It's like the drinking gives them the permission to do the thing that they
behave that way.
want to do.
Yeah.
They're like, I feel like I want to do that. It's like now I'm doing it.
Yeah. I hope you dance. Yeah. Well, Reggie, this was perfect. This was a perfect. Social, I feel like we got into like social social commentary and like living outside of the social norms of like let's take a look outside of ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was good. It was like good for me. It's healthy for me
to talk about. Yeah.
So this was good. Thanks for the opportunity.
You have permission to cancel.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? I'm not coming to this.
Yeah, actually, so this episode never aired. This was only in our dreams.
I canceled it. This is just an AI rendering of what it would have been like.
That's how much money we have in this pod. That this insane. AI, look at this AI of Reggie Watts. It looks so real.
AI, Captain.